Now, here's Chief Meteorologist Tony Petrarca with your live Pinpoint Doppler 12 Futurecast.
All right, rain and wind moving into the area, though not directly associated with Hurricane Joaquin. Of course, we'll talk about the storm in more detail in just a second, but take a look at the threat tracker, which for now is in the low category. I mean, nothing really heavy as far as precipitation yet. And the wind's picking up a little bit, but certainly during the overnight Friday and Saturday, precipitation becomes widespread, the wind picking up, especially across the coastline. So more rain over the next 36 hours, as much as 1 to 2 inches of rain, though I don't think we're going to see the kind of repeat of flash flooding and street flooding like we did yesterday. We'll see some big puddles on the road, so take it slow. 35, 40, 45 mile per hour wind gusts across the coastline. There's a high wind advisory for now, just Block Island, Nantucket, and Martha's Vineyard. But in the coming days, large surf, rips, and swells building in response to, of course, Hurricane Joaquin, which is now well offshore for now. We'll take a closer look in just a second. Take a look at pictures from the hurricane barrier in Providence. Gray skies, a few showers right now. Temperatures in the mid-50s. As we talked about last night, the much cooler weather today. In fact, the wind chill at times was in the 40s, so very raw. Temps in most areas mid-50s. It'll stay in the mid-50s all night long. So here's the setup. And again, the rain and wind that's on the increase, not associated with Joaquin, but rather a stationary front offshore. Notice how the green starts to sort of expand and blossom. So moving in overnight through all of tomorrow. And again, that wind picking up. So at times along the coastline, some of this rain may be blowing sideways. Very impressive Category 4 hurricane. One more look at the data from the National Hurricane Center. It is a stronger storm, Category 4, winds of 130 miles per hour. And here's what we've noticed in the last roughly 24 to 36 hours. The forecast track continues to trend east. In other words, further to the right. So for now, that change in the forecast track puts the storm as a tropical storm closer to us by early next week. But if that trend of a track further to the east continues, it may mean a miss altogether and heading out to sea. Now, I'm clearly not writing the storm off yet. Wouldn't do that 4 or 5 days down the road. Still want to be vigilant, but it is something to monitor. If that trend continues, it may miss the east coast entirely. So that is something that we'll watch very closely. In the meantime, Futurecast showing the rain working in, and you can see temperatures holding in the 50s all night long. Just watch the clock here, midnight. This will expand into tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon, so allow for some extra travel time. And the rain may come down heavy at times along the south shore, the wind really picking up across the coast. It's a windy, wet, raw, and chilly day. Temperatures only in the mid-50s, and this will continue tomorrow evening and tomorrow night. So initially just light showers, gusty along the coastline, and then windswept rain, raw and chilly both tomorrow morning and tomorrow afternoon. And again, not associated with Hurricane Joaquin. That storm is still far away in the Bahamas. Take a look at the 7-day Futurecast and even the unsettled conditions both Saturday and Sunday, especially Saturday, not directly associated with the hurricane. Temperatures in the lower 60s. The real wild card here is the late Monday, Tuesday time frame. If the storm were to make a landfall here, it would be as a tropical storm and not a hurricane, which obviously is good news. But again, if this trend of bending more to the right and further offshore continues, it could, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but it could mean a miss altogether. And that's something that we'll watch over the next 24 hours. Obviously, that is good news. Even with an offshore track, the waves are going to be huge regardless, because these waves travel hundreds of miles. So the surf, the rip current risk really jacking up here next several days.
But we want this trend to stay the same because the trend
is your friend. We've noticed that the computer models are coming out with the same scenario rather than going back and forth. So we say the trend is your friend because now we can trust the models more as far as the accuracy.
See, we listen to you, Tony.
No, thank you.
We need to talk. All right. Thanks, Tony. Coming